We have an update now on the number of people who have been killed here in North Carolina because of Hurricane Irene. That death toll now up to 3 people. 3 people have lost their lives in connection with Hurricane Irene. In Nash County, authorities there say a tree fell during high winds and killed a man. We also have a report of a person in Onslow County of a man dying from a heart attack that they are attributing to Hurricane Irene. And also in New Hanover County, someone either jumped into or fell into the Cape Fear River and drowned. So that is the information we have coming in right now. We're also tracking information coming in from Washington. As we've been showing you, President Obama has been at FEMA headquarters this afternoon. He went there to check in with the officials at FEMA. Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano was there. We've been watching that video come in this afternoon. The FEMA Director Craig Fugate there as well. They had a video teleconference a short time ago with emergency preparedness planners, emergency officials here in North Carolina, and other state officials up and down the East Coast. You may know that FEMA, as we've been reporting, has a trailer set up, a command center set up in downtown Raleigh at the Emergency Operations Center. So they are definitely keeping a very close watch from Washington on what's happening here. And Leon Panetta, the Defense Secretary, also ordered troops, 6,500 American troops, to be on standby, ready to deploy, ready to help with hurricane relief efforts if necessary. It does not appear that Fort Bragg is under that pre-deployment order, that order to prepare to deploy. That's what we're watching right here in the Breaking News Center right now. Tisha and Larry, we'll have some more for you in a few minutes.
Steve, we're also getting word that there may be some damage at East Carolina University. You might want to check on that. Our information is damage to the 10th floor of Green Dormitory and a tree going through a portion of the 5th floor of that dormitory. So we hope to have new information on that as time goes by.
They also sent out an alert saying that there were some traffic lights out on campus and that there were some streets flooded on that campus, also encouraging students to stay indoors.
Oh, wow.
We'll be right back.
Afternoon. Now I want to go back and describe the situation in Wayne County in Goldsboro. If we could go to WebHD, we can show you what's happening at the Berkeley Mall in Goldsboro. Take a look at that. If you look beyond that glass there, beyond that window there, you're looking inside the Belk store. This is taken inside the Belk store there. You can see the merchandise on the racks, and as you're looking through there, that is the collapsed roof at the Berkeley Mall in Goldsboro. The Wayne County emergency management people are telling us that there are no injuries, that the mall has now been evacuated. They also tell us across Wayne County they have a lot of trees down, power lines down across Wayne County. But this is obviously a very serious situation unfolding this afternoon at the Berkeley Mall in Goldsboro, where the roof has collapsed at the Belk store. We don't know exactly the circumstances surrounding this, if this had something to do with wind or if there was pooling rainwater and it collapsed under the weight of that. We just don't know the circumstances surrounding this roof collapse at Berkeley Mall. But obviously that's a serious situation. Our first picture into the Breaking News Center, and we're working to get more information on that. We also we had another picture that we'll try to pull up in just a few minutes that shows a tree down on a house in Goldsboro as well. So obviously Wayne County relatively hard hit this afternoon by Hurricane Irene. Now let's take a look at New Bern. Again, our focus here in the Breaking News Center has been New Bern. This is some video that we just got in a few minutes ago from New Bern that was shot just a little while ago. We spoke with the public information officer from New Bern a short time ago who said at the height of the storm surge, it was about 7 feet of storm surge that pushed up the Pamlico Sound, up the Neuse River, and into New Bern. And she said that now that has receded to about 3 feet. But this really helps tell the story. This video from one of our affiliates in New Bern. You can see that power line is down. They have had some water rescues in New Bern this afternoon. At last check, when we spoke with the city of New Bern, they said that there were 2 water rescues still underway. There were some broken windows and minor structural damage in downtown New Bern this afternoon. But that has really been the focus of our concern as Irene continues moving on. The concern has been the sound flooding across eastern North Carolina, and the worry has been, of course, that that people would be trapped, and you did hear from the city of New Bern that they actually took a city bus into one neighborhood and loaded people up, and were able to get them out. Now we have some more video coming into the Breaking News Center right now. This is from our Web HD. This is in New Bern as well. If we can switch over to Web HD, I'll play this for you, and we can take a look at this together. This is coming from U Report, powered by YouTube. This is outside a Walgreens store in New Bern, and take a look. Those hurricane force winds moving through that area. Really doing a number on the trees there, and again, more wind-driven rain in New Bern. In this part of New Bern, obviously, they don't have any of that storm surge flooding that we've been talking about that was coming up the Neuse River. The other big concern in New Bern this afternoon, power outages. About 90% of the city is without power right now, and they continue monitoring the situation with that storm surge flooding, making sure that everyone is safe. So that is what is just coming in. We are really dependent on our viewers. We have our crews deployed across eastern North Carolina, across the coast, but we really appreciate our viewers sending in still photos from their mobile devices and video too. You can upload it directly at our website, abc11.com, or YouReport at abc11mail.com. Just type that in and we'll get it here in the Breaking News Center, and it helps us tell the story here and cover what's happening, not just in the 23 counties in our viewing area, but across eastern North Carolina and the coastal communities as well. Tisha and Larry.
Okay.
We're back now with more Eyewitness News coverage of Hurricane Irene tonight. The hurricane has claimed several lives. 3 people have been killed in North Carolina, and now we know an 11-year-old boy was killed in Virginia, in Newport News this afternoon as well.
Officials there say the little boy was crushed by a tree. The tree fell onto his apartment earlier today. Authorities brought a crane to lift the trunk, but found the boy underneath. Police say his mother was able to get out of the building. Officials say the tree fell from the power of Hurricane Irene.
Hurricane Irene continues her trek to the north, and the northeast will really be impacted tomorrow. Irene's impact can be seen here in Virginia Beach. These are some pretty substantial waves crashing into the pier. In New York City, the mayor, Michael Bloomberg, has issued a mandatory evacuation order for 370,000 people in New York City who live in low-lying areas. And at noon today, they shut down the subway system, the train system, and the buses. All MTA, Metropolitan Transit Authority system, has been completely shut down. And there are about 1,400 people in shelters in New York City. And now, of course, people just have to rely on taxi cabs to try to get around. The airports are shut down as well. So if you have any travel plans, if you were supposed to fly to the New York City area in the next couple of days, you may already know by now that your flights have been canceled. Now we want to show you what has been happening in Durham this afternoon. We had a news crew out who captured this scene on Roxborough, just south of I-85. You can see this tree came crashing down. Fortunately, it missed that house, but it did come down on some power lines, and it was blocking Roxborough Street here. As we pull out here, you can see what happened, that the Durham Police Department had to close down Roxborough Street until they could get that tree branch out of there. It just snapped right off, taking down a power line. But again, fortunately, it missed that house. Could have gone the other way and would have been a very different situation. One of the hardest hit areas in North Carolina along the coast was the Crystal Coast, Carteret County. They have really had a hard time today with the bands from Hurricane Irene moving through.
Keeping you connected with today's breaking news. ABC 11 Eyewitness News with Larry Stockner starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. Governor Bev Perdue is about to make a comment on the state of the hurricane. Let's go right to her.
At this point, and we anticipate there will be more, there is widespread damage to property and infrastructure along the coast. We have ocean overwash, we have flooded roads, we have fallen trees throughout the whole east, and we continue to have damaging storm surge. The Neuse and the Pamlico and other coastal rivers may experience flooding over the next few days. We know that a major power transmission line is down in Tarboro, and outages are really widespread throughout the east. There are problems being reported all day at wastewater treatment plants in Brunswick, Tyrrell, and Wayne counties, as well as Carolina Beach, Columbia, and Fremont. We have had reports of possible tornadoes that struck last night in 3 counties, with some minor injuries reported in Tyrrell County, along with structural damage to several homes. The hurricane-force winds are expected to leave tonight about 8 or 9, and then will force winds until 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning. And so Irene is still in North Carolina. Now let me speak very directly to the people of North Carolina. If you live in the coastal plain, if you live in these counties that have seen Irene in our presence since last night, stay inside. It makes no sense for anybody to go outside with hot wires on the ground and trees down. Don't take any unnecessary risk for you or your family. The Highway Patrol is has activated about 300 troopers. There are 600 on standby if we need them tonight and tomorrow. The troopers thus far have investigated 135 collisions in eastern North Carolina since 8 o'clock last night. And again, a foot of water will turn your vehicle over and do you damage. It'll float your car. So if you are out for whatever reason and you run into water, please stop and turn around. As you might expect, numerous roadways will be closed tonight that we don't know about due to storm debris and fallen trees and downed power lines and overwash. If you have a road or if you have a road damage to report or travel directions that you need about safety, you can call the DOT information line at 511. For those of you who still have website activity, you can go to DOT's website, but the phone number is 511. The North Carolina National Guard has 414 guardsmen and women and airmen activated, with more ready to help tomorrow if we need it. We continue to have 7 helicopters in the state, 2 of which now are equipped with hoists for rescues in isolated or cut off places because of water. Nearly 40 more helicopters are available to us from surrounding states that have offered to help. Our swiftwater rescue teams and urban rescue teams and helo rescue teams are all in place, just waiting for the weather to clear if their services are needed. As of 4:30 this afternoon, we have 60 shelters that remain open with 5,540 folks in them. 3 emergency management distribution centers in Dare, Hyde, and Pamlico counties are set up, and they're ready to begin distributing food and water and tarps and all those essential commodities that people will need as they try beginning tomorrow to rebuild their lives in their communities. 3 emergency management distribution centers in Dare, Hyde, and Pamlico counties are set up now, and they are ready to begin distributing that food and water. The governor's hotline is up and going. 888-835-9966. 888-835-9966. Let me reiterate, this is not an emergency line, but if there's anything you need, if there is a problem that you're experiencing that you think the state or these resources at our beck and call can help you with, call that number. High tide is going on along the coast as we speak from 6 to 7 p.m. this evening, and there are occasions where that might precipitate more flooding. In the southeast where Irene began, we know that Irene has left, and there's word that Wrightsville Beach may be open. In the northeast, Hurricane Irene is still very, very active, and throughout eastern North Carolina, many of our people have sustained damages and are very worried. So very quickly, our assessment teams will be out there. They will be on the ground as soon as it's safe for them to do that, and by early tomorrow morning, you'll see people moving throughout your communities trying to get a handle on what has been damaged and what we can do to put North Carolina back together. I want to thank all of you for your patience. We've gotten through this almost, and we're at the end now, and we thank you. Thank you. Questions?
Just like speak for the governor, and then our colleagues will be able to hang on to them. Governor, I hope you didn't answer this one. Given the extent of the damage at this point, what are your people indicating to you as to how long it'll take to really start to get into helping the folks that need the help?
Well, I think that some of the people are already being helped. I've been on the phone all day, as you can imagine, talking to folks I know in eastern North Carolina and down east in Carteret County. I've talked to 3 or 4 communities where there's actually been some highway patrolmen in there and some road crews. Folks are cut off in parts of North Carolina, and obviously we're not going to get anybody in to do an assessment until it's safe. And so that's the bottom line for all of us. By early in the morning, I would believe that we'll be able to get into every community that's at risk or that's been damaged.
Josh. Governor, other than getting folks out of harm's way, what's the most pressing issue in terms of fixing things or getting systems back online?
Well, for me, the most important issue is doing an assessment to see what our human damages might have been. And we can always replace buildings and houses and build back the infrastructure, but we want to be sure our people are safe, and so we need to be sure that we can get the hot power lines up and make it safe for folks as they get out in these communities tomorrow and begin their own assessment. And from there, we'll go straight into it. It's all important, Josh, you know that, and so we'll take it piece by piece, but this team is good enough and deep enough that we can multitask at the same time we're focusing on human capital.
And that's Governor Bev Perdue saying to expect some flooding. The tropical force winds will go on into the evening. The North Carolina National Guard has been activated. 7 helicopters are available, and some 60 shelters holding 5,500 people are now in use. Well, this monster storm is lumbering up slowly along the East Coast. It could be out of the state soon, but Irene is leaving some damage and lots of flooding down east. We'll go to the coast in a moment, but first, let's go to Chief Meteorologist Chris Holman with the latest on Irene. Chris?
Okay, Larry. Well, Irene is about to move out of the state. It's about to emerge over the open waters of the Atlantic northeast of Elizabeth City anytime now. Let's show you first our Doppler XP, and the rain is winding down now around the triangle. These bands of rain, which have been across much of the region through much of the day, now dropping southeast on the backside of the storm, and the whole area will lift out to the northeast through the evening hours. So Western Wake in the clear, a few spotty showers in Orange County, Fayetteville, Sanford, Rayford, all in the clear. Check out some of the rainfall, though, at least from Doppler estimates. As we expected, the heaviest amounts down east, 2, 3, even 4 inches or more in spots. Sometimes the Doppler radar in tropical systems does not estimate the amounts quite as high as they really are. But 3 to 4 inches, a good bet in many of these areas from Wilson to the north and east. And then it tapers off dramatically as you get into Western Wake County, 1/10 of an inch Western Wake to over an inch in Eastern Wake. And that's the story down to the south. Rayford, nothing. Southern Pines, nothing through the course of the storm, except for a few spotty showers. Everything moving out, though, as we mentioned, and the rain should be out of Roanoke Rapids, the last spot for it to go by about midnight, I'd say. So still some problems with some flooding. There's RDU Airport again, Terminal 2. The camera not shaking as much as it was earlier, but still, it's pretty breezy out there. Here's a closer view of the hurricane satellite view, and there it is, the center right there, about to merge over the waters of the Atlantic. But it's a large hurricane, as you well know, beginning to clear on the south coast and back towards Charlotte. Had a little sun in areas of the Sandhills earlier in the day. There's another view of the hurricane churning up. The landfall 7:30 this morning around Cape Lookout, then up through the Western Sounds. Category 1 hurricane, but it had a 9-foot storm surge. If that is verified, that's at the very end, low end of a Category 3 storm. So it had that larger storm surge than the actual category of the storm with the winds at 85. It wasn't a big wind maker, but it certainly was a big storm surge maker. But there it goes up into southeast Virginia. These are the wave heights, and that's where out there to the east where you see 20, 25, 30-foot waves. But notice they are beginning to lighten up a little bit in the sounds. These are more of the 10 to 15-foot seas order wave height, and in the Albemarle Sound even lower than that right now, and that trend will continue as well. As of 5 o'clock, the hurricane had winds of 80 miles an hour, moving north-northeast at 12 miles an hour. Make landfall, scoot along the coast there, Virginia, Delaware, New Jersey, potentially into western Long Island during the morning hours tomorrow as either a strong tropical storm or a hurricane. Winds 70 to 75, maybe 80 miles per hour. But, you know, some of these high rises, New York City, when you get to skyscrapers 80 to 100 stories high, the wind can be 30% higher. So It's potentially the winds in New York and some of the high-rise buildings could be over 100 miles an hour, buffeting those higher skyscrapers in New York City. There again is another view of the hurricane. This is the dry air on the south side of the storm, which actually helped to weaken it. Remember, a couple of days ago, we thought it might be a Category 3 making landfall. It was a Category 1, so we were fortunate in that sense. Dry air on the south side, and also the wind shear, southwest winds really tearing the southwest part of the storm apart. Winds are dying down. Gusts of 28 RDU, 18 Fayetteville. We had gusts close to 60 or even a bit higher. Rocky Mount, Wilson, and Goldsboro earlier today. They are still gusting to 60 at Manio, 67 Cape Hatteras, and 43 at Wilmington. Temperature 74 at RDU now with a northwest wind at 15 miles an hour. Still a bit breezy. There are the temperatures in the low and mid 70s. Southern Pines still at 79. There's that one last track of the hurricane as it makes its approach into the northeast and southern New England as we head through the next 24 hours or so. We'll talk about our local forecast in more detail coming up in just a bit, Larry. We've got some great weather ahead. You're going to want to stick around for the 7-day in just a little bit.
Good to hear. Thank you, Chris. We have breaking news right now involving Hurricane Irene. Let's go to Steve Daniels in the Breaking News Center. Steve.
Larry, we're just learning from Goldsboro police that a young child, a girl, has been killed in a car crash in Goldsboro. It happened at an intersection where the police department in Goldsboro says the lights were out. The traffic lights were out because of Hurricane Irene. The police department says this accident likely would not have happened if Irene had not moved through and knocked out the stoplight there. They don't yet know the age or the name of the little girl who was killed, but this is the 4th death related to Hurricane Irene here in North Carolina today, Larry.
Thank you for that.
Welcome back, and a run through what's going on with Irene and our forecast, which is much improved for the day tomorrow. Here's a check of First Alert Doppler XP. Still some rain around the region. It is beginning to move out across the areas from Raleigh westward. A definitive trend now of drying out from Raleigh and Durham back to Fayetteville and points to the west. Just a few scattered showers out there, but there have been several inches of rain. You got a report from a viewer who lives near North Hills where our sensor says an inch, but they had nearly 3 inches. So rainfall amounts vary widely, but the largest amounts by far have been down east, Rocky Mount, Wilson, Goldsboro, and up towards Roanoke Rapids. There is North Hills right now. You see an inch and a half there, 71 degrees. Still the low clouds and some light rain or mist obscuring the view of the hotel there across Six Forks. So conditions still not all that pleasant out there, but they will be tomorrow if you don't mind it just a little bit hot. There's the hurricane charging up the coast, causing the damage it did and the heavy rain. It will be out of our way. The center is just about offshore right now. It's moving offshore as we speak. 74 at RDU, a northwest wind at 15, barometer low 29.42, and beginning to rise now as the hurricane makes its way out of the area. 70 at Oxford, Henderson, Lewisburg, 81 Southern Pines, 76 in Fayetteville. Here's that forecast track again off the coast of Delaware, New Jersey, and into western sections of Long Island. And then that means that Long Island and southern New England on the right side of the storm, which is the worst side of the storm because that has the highest winds, the strongest storm surge, the most rain, and most beach erosion with possible tornadoes. Remember, with winds at 70, 80 miles an hour on land as the hurricane or strong tropical storm moves on shore, those high rises in New York City, 80 stories or higher, the winds could be 30% stronger, which means the winds over 100 miles per hour. So Irene is gone. Hopefully we don't have to worry about any more for us, but the next name on the list would be Jose. Nothing out in the Atlantic right now showing any signs of development. So tonight, the showers move off from southwest to northeast. The rain moves out, upper 60s to near 70s. Still a bit breezy, but the winds will subside. Tomorrow looks to be a great day with lots of sun. Heating up, though, for areas that only stayed in the 70s today. Low 90s tomorrow for highs. Maybe as hot as 94. All the rain we had, Fayetteville didn't pick up all that much rain, but areas to the east, you had a lot of rain especially. It may be that the sun's energy goes into evaporating some of that moisture, then heating up the air. So we may not quite make it to these low 90s in some of the areas that got the really heavy rain, but still, it's going to be a nice day if you don't mind it just a little bit hot and a little bit muggy. There's your AccuWeather 7-day forecast and a great stretch of weather ahead. In case you missed it earlier, nighttime lows dropping into the low and mid 60s, daytime highs in the 80s, and with very little in the way of rain, Larry. We talked about this earlier. It's going to be nice not to have to worry about any hurricanes looming. That's the thing about these storms. You know, the anticipation is almost, I know when you have damage, it's not quite, but still, leading up to it can be almost as anxiety. It causes as much anxiety as the storm itself. Just which way is it going and what's the tracks changed? We don't have to worry about that next week.
Looking at the sky tomorrow, will we even know there's been a hurricane?
Not, you know, if you don't have any damage, yeah, it's going to be a beautiful day. So it shouldn't be much in the way of cloud cover, lots of sun. Going to be a gorgeous day.
All right, thanks.
What you're looking at now is a roof that has collapsed at the Berkeley Mall in Goldsboro. We had some pictures that show that it was near the Belk store. So if you're familiar with that mall, the inside of the mall has actually had some roof damage. You can see the ceiling tiles and insulation and rain just pouring right into the inside of the mall. And of course, that mall is closed right now due to a significant amount of damage. And this is in Goldsboro, and that is the Berkeley Mall, and it's quite a bit of damage, some of the most significant damage we've seen today to major structures.
We've had still pictures from inside, but our news crew was able to get inside, and you can see that is really incredible rubble and destruction there, that twisted metal. Think about that, a ceiling collapsing inside a mall that's certainly designed and engineered to withstand any kind of natural disaster. As I said a few minutes ago, it's not clear what happened here. Those are the sprinklers, the sprinkler system there that is twisted and torn down as well. So some of that dripping water you see maybe from the fire sprinkler system and not the rain, but it really is incredible to see, and fortunately it's really amazing. No one hurt there at the Berkeley Mall when that happened at the Belk store. Now, this is also video just coming in from our crew in Greenville today, showing us what was happening in Pitt County a short time ago.
Lots of trees down on power lines. Of course, that's part of the reason why many people don't have power in that area. The wind gusts, the very high winds were whipping and knocking down a lot of leaves and branches and trees. And that's one of the reasons why they don't want you to drive out there, is because the tree branches are in the road, and those branches will bring down those power lines, and they also don't want you to drive through the water. So those are perfect examples of what not to do when we have weather like this.
Yeah, it's really been quite a day in Greenville. We have so many parents who have been emailing us here at Eyewitness News who have students at East Carolina University. We showed you Campus Towers, the video from there a short time ago, where part of the exterior wall essentially peeled away. There was rain coming in, power outages, trees down. Pretty significant damage in Pitt County today.
Yeah, the further east you go, you got closer, of course, to the center of Irene, and just close enough that winds in Greenville gusting to 70 as opposed to 55 to 60 or so from Rocky Mount to Wilson to Goldsboro, and then highest wind gust at RDU was 40. Fayetteville had a 50-mile-per-hour wind gust, but that's just the difference between. There were some down trees, of course, down to the Rocky Mount Wilson area too, Steve and Tisha, but 60 to 70-mile-per-hour winds, that difference in just 10 miles can make a big difference, though, in the amount of trees that come down. Things are improving. The winds are diminishing. The rain is coming to an end. First to our Doppler XP, still showing this is the back edge of Irene's rains now, stretching from near Henderson to Lewisburg. Real sharp cutoff there as the hurricane lifts off, and actually is picking up some speed. So you still have some rain coming at you. Wilson, Rocky Mount, it's been raining there just about all day, and through the early morning hours. Started very early this morning, just after midnight, but it will be tapering off, and there are just a couple of scattered showers into Wake County, back into Chatham County as well. But as we head through the evening, again, things continue to improve from southwest to northeast. There's RDU Airport at Terminal 2. A little bit of light in the sky there finally. Not a lot of sunshine, but at least a little bit of brightness there. 73. Camera's still shaking a bit, but not as much as it was earlier in those stronger winds. A north wind 19 miles an hour at our sensor right there. And it says no rainfall, but about a half-inch fell. Something wrong with our rain gauge out there. And there's Irene charging up the coast and not moving too fast, but not sluggish either. About 12, 13 miles per hour, making landfall, as you probably know, 7:30 this morning, right around Cape Lookout and Carteret County, and then pushing up into the western sounds. Not a real well-defined eye. Came ashore as a Category 1 hurricane, but had a strong Category 2 or a weak Category 3 storm surge, which caused that really bad flooding in Pamlico Sound. You see, though, again, things improving off to the southwest of the center, and as it moves off to the northeast, the center has now emerged back out over the Atlantic. Conditions will improve. Storm surge, that's what happens when the water gets piled up on shore. And with this hurricane coming ashore right around the Crystal Coast here, this is Carteret County here, that's Cape Lookout. What happens is the counterclockwise circulation piling that water up, pushes it towards the shore. It's usually almost always worse to the right, in this case to the east side of the center where it blows on shore. And because Irene was a Category 3 hurricane and it's so big, it was able to pile up so much water that it did have that stronger storm surge than you normally would expect with a Category 1 hurricane. So you have that raising of the sea or the ocean. The storm surge caused the overall rise in the water level, and depending on just how bad of a storm it is, can just overtop the beaches completely. Waves and tides are not included in the storm surge, so you have 20-foot waves on top of that, and it's just a catastrophe and really, really big hurricanes. It can be. There's the track of the storm. It wobbled some, but generally on course as predicted the last couple of days around the Crystal Coast and the southern Outer Banks. This is the 7 o'clock advisory. Winds at 80. Moving north-northeast at 16 miles an hour, and then charging up the coast. It's picking up a little bit of speed, probably won't pick up any more strength. That's the good news, but this is a really terrible track for the northeastern U.S., just hugging the coastline, and as it does so, it just sloshes that water on shore. If it takes this track, then parts of Long Island and New York City inundated with that storm surge into New York Harbor, potentially. So hopefully things won't be as bad as the folks there fear, but this would be sometime tomorrow morning as it approaches New York City as a low-wind Category 1 hurricane or a strong tropical storm. Wind damage, very heavy rainfall there. They're going to get more rain than we did, 10, 15, even 20 inches in spots from the latest projections. And, of course, that storm surge as it tracks off to the northeast. And eventually it's got out of everybody's way by late Monday into Tuesday. It's gone. There's another look at the track. And you see as it moves, no hurricane goes in a straight line. They do wobble just a little bit, and you can see that pretty clearly here. But generally going northward, a little bit northeast. And it took a little bit of a north turn. Now it's back off to the north-northeast. And it doesn't matter anymore now. It's out of our way, or at least it will be soon.